if you guys actually know who these two women are. Do you? Does everyone? No. So this is Deedra Abboud, and she is, in my description, an activist, an author, definitely a love warrior. She's a lawyer. She's very lawyerly. And she's politician-y. I'll just describe her that way because I'm going to let her speak for herself. And she also, yeah, I'm going to let her speak for herself. And this is Tara Ijai.
Yes.
Did I say that correctly?
Perfect.
Hallelujah. Did I say your name correctly? Mm-hmm. I spelled your name wrong for a long time, and this event, I got it right. I was like, I've been spelling your name wrong the whole time, and no one said anything. But Tara is the founder of the Love Glasses Revolution, and thus the heart-shaped lenses on top of her head there. And so when I was putting this event together, originally I was just having a lineup of speakers, and Tara actually had this great idea of interviewing them. I don't know if this is going to be more like a discussion, but because these two are like best friends, and they have been blazing trails across the state, spreading love. They're both love warriors. And to me, what I love about these two is like they complement each other, but they're also sort of like it's a dichotomy in a way. That's what I love about them. But they have forwarded a lot of amazing things. And since you have this idea, I was like, this is great. I want to talk about your experiences, because this is, you know, the Just Be Love, and I really want to talk about a little bit the stuff that you guys go through, because I've seen a lot of stuff just online. I didn't actually experience it with you, but I've seen a lot of stuff online. So the title of this love talk is Love in the Face of Hate. And so would you guys like to introduce yourself or add anything into that? This is informal with this great big huge crowd. Can everybody hear us back there okay?
Yeah.
Deedra, would you like to share a little bit more about you?
I'm originally from Arkansas. I moved to Arizona in '98 and just found myself and found good people around me and found my husband and figured out that nobody's got it figured out. So what I figure out is just as good as anybody else's, and just live that way.
It's kind of like we realize at some point that the more you know, it's literally the more you know, the less you actually know. That's how I feel anyway. And you are a lawyer now. You've been a lawyer before. What's your lawyer status? Because
I am a lawyer.
Yeah, because I love that about you. So, still a lawyer. And what type of lawyerly things have you done?
I've done. I focused on immigration and estate planning, so I got them coming and going. Excuse me. And now I'm the vice chair of the Arizona Democratic Party. So I do a little corporate work on the side just to keep active.
Yes. And there's one other thing about you that I would like you to share, and because you were the first of something. You were the first to run for something. You know what I'm talking about. You were the first in a lot of firsts. So you ran a race here in the state, and what was it?
I ran for U.S. Senate, and I was the first Muslim woman to run in the United States for U.S. Senate, and then of course the first Muslim in the scarf to run for U.S. Senate in the United States.
And your campaign was amazing, and this is the dynamic of the two of you. Tara, would you like to share a little bit about you, and then we're going to segue into you as the two of you?
Sure. Originally from upstate New York. That's where I was born and raised. Came out here in 1996. And I never left. That's really where that went. And all my family followed me. So they're all out here. But met Deedra, what year? When did we meet?
A good 15 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember how we met.
How?
How did you meet?
I'll go there. We were we were at a mosque, and we were all in a circle, and there was a lot of women. We were all there, and I remember I was telling jokes. Not sure why I was, but they were funny. I can tell you that, and everybody was laughing. Everybody, except for her. Except for her. So I'm like. So everybody kind of dispersed, and I kind of moseyed over and kept going, and that's when she let me know. She looks up at me and she says, "Yeah, I don't chit chat."
This is not my version.
Go ahead, let's hear your version. Let's hear
Oh,
your
yes,
version.
yes.
Yeah, I don't
oh my
chit
gosh. I want to hear it. This is awesome.
My version is I was there trying to save someone's life. They were getting deported, and I was trying to get support from the people to go down to Ijai, Arizona, and testify to the judge that this person was a good person. And the mosque wouldn't let me do it inside the mosque, so I had to do it outside the mosque. So I was very focused on trying to catch people who were leaving. And Tara kept telling jokes. And I was busy, and then she moseyed up to me and is like, really targeting me for conversation, and I'm busy. So I know I'm not giving her what she needs, and I just turned her and I said, "I'm sorry, I don't chit chat."
Yeah, I didn't recall
She doesn't recall the sorry.
I'm sorry part.
Yeah, that was missed.
But I had to spend the rest of my days like, who can say that?
In a good way. She means it in a good way. Like, she didn't mean that who can be that rude. She meant like who can just like stand in their power and tell you like I just don't have what you need.
That's exactly right. Who can do that? Like it's magical.
I think our group could do that. No.
Yeah, yeah. She was always like the strong
Awesome.
person standing in her center, and you had to be very strong person to be her friend, because if you made it about you in any sense of the way, you'd be like just defeated, because she just is very direct. But that's the thing that I love about her so much, because I know where the directness comes, and it's straight from that heart she's got. So, yeah, it's been
you
a
never
ride.
have to worry about where you stand with me.
Yeah.
I'll tell you.
Yeah, it's true.
That's one of the things that I really respect about you. Like, I love to be surrounded by people that say it like it is. Like, because there's no guessing. It's like there's no guessing what what you're thinking in your head or what your thoughts are. And that's one of the things that I respect about you. And also, as a side note, you are actually the first person that I ever publicly supported in a political campaign, ever. And it was really because I feel you're so transparent. Like, you're just so transparent. You just say it like it is. And also, like, you guys did this love journey across the state that was awesome. So basically, it was the same dynamic. You were getting down to business, spreading the message, and you were cutting jokes and waving and being pretty. Just being your pretty.
We taught the whole Democratic Party about hugging.
Yeah, we're kind of big huggers.
Hug it out. Hug it out.
Yeah, and we Facebook Lived everything. I mean, it truly was transparent. We didn't, and because we Facebook Lived everything, you could tell that everywhere I went, I was giving the same messages. I could package it differently, but I was saying the same things. Because I wanted to run a positive campaign, which we did. I wanted to run a campaign all over the state, which we did. And I wanted to speak on the values and demonstrate what it looks like for the values to always be the same.
And I feel like you did that successfully. And I think this is sort of a good segue into this conversation, because, so here you are. I want to back up a second before we talk about that. Will you share, are you willing to share, because you don't have to, but are you willing to share a little bit about why you started Love Classes?
Sure. In 2015, I'll give you the brief version, there's a lot to talk about. There was a lot of negativity, especially as it pertained to Muslims. I was seeing it in my feed, I was seeing it on the news, I was just seeing it everywhere. And I got to this really dark place of depression, and I just couldn't get out of it. It was like all I could focus on. Hate crimes were up, all this kind of stuff. Basically one day, after a conversation, bawling to my little brother for a couple hours, he sent me a meme, a picture. And it was a little guinea pig wearing heart-shaped glasses, and it said, "I can't see haters with my love glasses on." And I don't know what it was about this meme, but it was everything for me. And that it was a decision that I was going to go out in the world and choose to see it with love, no matter what was thrown at me, that I wasn't a victim. And so I bought a pair of glasses, I went out, ready for people to, if they had anything to say, "I've got my glasses, I'm ready." And that's not what happened. Everybody wanted to connect, and, "Oh, I love your glasses, I love your heart-shaped glasses. They're my love glasses. Where can I get some of those?" And it just became this thing. And to be very honest with you, Deedra is the one that probably helped me bring this whole thing to fruition, because I came to her one day and I'm like, "Deedra, everybody wants to talk to me with these glasses on. Everybody wants to talk about the glasses. I think we need to start a love glasses revolution. Isn't that crazy?" Do you remember what you said to me?
I said, "It's absolutely crazy, and it's absolutely you, and you should do it."
Because you said all of the great ideas are crazy.
Yeah, all the great ideas, people thought they were crazy when
Yeah.
they started.
And that's how it started. I mean, like, she gave me permission to be me, right? Like, because I couldn't do it myself at that time. Like, I wasn't there. That, you know, I had to do a lot of validating, and that's the epitome of having a strong sisterhood, by the way.
Yeah, and throughout, you know, in the beginning, it was, you know, she got a lot of pushback. People were like, "Oh, that's just fluff. It's not going to make a difference." And you know, that's fluff is not her, and she didn't want to be that. So we had to have a lot of conversations around, "You do you. Don't worry about everybody else. They're not your." And I used to tell her all the time, "Those aren't your people. They're not your people. Your people get it. You know, if you have to go into the long explanation of why this is important, those aren't your people. Your people see the love glasses, hear the choosing to see the world with love, pledge, and they're on board. That's your people." But for me, it's the same thing I want in my romantic relationship, right, with my husband. That's the same way we want it, which is that we're beautiful together and we're beautiful independently. And we're not in competition with that. Like, we're sincerely happy anything that happens to either one of us. And we don't have to be together to be amazing. But when we're together, we're more amazing.
Yeah.
You know, so that's the way I wanted my romantic relationship, and that's the way our friendship is. And that's truly what sisterhood should be. It really should be, I have my life, and I'm striving to do the best I can, and I have a bestie that, you know, supports me and I support her, and, you know, it's not a competition, and we're not on the same path, and we're not always going to have the same decisions, and that's great.
Yeah.
And also, I'll add, because she's the kind of person that she is, like, and I'm a guilt and shame person, like, with everything. It's my default, you know, I feel bad about everything, you know, world hunger is my fault, you know. So she allows me to have that space, like she wants me to drive 4 hours with her somewhere. But if I can't or choose not to, she's okay with that, and I know that. Like, that's a lot, that's really powerful, that she doesn't make me feel like that's what I have to do. And so that's how we go with the expectation that what each other wants is the best thing from a place of good. So it's nice.
It's a privilege, and I'm grateful to have her company. But it's also a privilege and something to be grateful for, not an expectation.
I love that. So this united face, right? The united pairing of love and advocacy, and because you guys, I mean, I see you independently and together doing all kinds of stuff. You like show up to the stuff, right? You just show up to the things. You're everywhere, like everywhere, I feel. So have you gotten any pushback?
Yeah, we didn't have to do this to get pushback. We just had to go to the grocery store.
That's for sure. And I even got pushback when I started the Love Glasses Revolution. We did the front page of the USA Today. That was so surprising and awesome. And then they were telling the story, I told the story, and then online, you know, all the different things about, you know, whatever negative comments, usually about religion and stuff like that, so.
I mean, you literally had a spread, and back then it was before she integrated the love as an action word. It was just about just love, choosing to see the world with love. You know,
Yeah.
there was no undercurrent, no what do you do with that. And you know, here she is on USA Today, and that's all it is. It's almost fluff, and a bunch of comments, like several of the comments were all about hating Muslims. Like, really?
But a bunch of orders came in.
Yeah, that's right. No, I mean,
But that's the
Yeah.
power. Like, I mean, that's why we've learned a long time ago not to take the online too seriously. Those are just people not happy at home seeing something. There are many more people willing to take action in a loving way. And we got to see that on the campaign through the love classes. Like, it changes everything.
Most people are observers. Most people are not active. They're not active. They're not participating. So even online, you know, if I post something and I have 10 people that, you know, are positive about it, and then I have 10 people who are negative about it, I have 100 people who didn't give any reaction whatsoever. They're observers, and that's really who you're talking to.
Yeah. Well, so you both have a strength about it. You have a wonder. You've taught me a lot. We've had many conversations, and I love those kind of conversations. I like to see from other people's eyes. Like, I don't know what it feels like to walk around with a scarf, as you say, very colorful scarves, very hip scarves, I might say.
Thank you so
and
much.
shoes, because we have to talk about the
Oh,
shoes.
yes, always.
But I feel like you have a strength of character that I would love other people to be inspired to understand and maybe have a takeaway. How do you have a strength of character in the face of hate? And has there ever been anything that did make its way in a little bit?
For me, I mean, I think everything impacts me. I think that for me, the thing that gets me is when, you know, people should know better. When you have people who actually know you and they have a negative interpretation or put a negative interpretation on something you've done or a judgment. But in the world in general, my philosophy is most of it, almost none of it, has anything to do with me. So if someone is, if someone's mean to me in public, for example, if I'm, first of all, because I'm dressed this way, if I go to a grocery store and I get upset with the cashier, I don't have the privilege of having a meltdown. Because it doesn't matter what the transaction is. It doesn't matter how right I am. It doesn't matter how much the cashier has wronged me. Everybody in line and everybody in the grocery store sees me reacting negatively. Even if they saw the whole transaction, I'm reacting negatively. And it's not just that they think bad of me, they think bad of every single person who looks like me. So I don't have those kinds of privileges. But pretty much anybody who comes up to me and wants to say something negative, and online, has nothing to do with me, it's about them. And if I maintain that perspective that this is not about me, I don't have to wear the clothes that they're giving me, then I can address the situation without it being personal. Because it's not. It feels that way, but it's not.
And I just like to have fun with it. So we were at an event, and we pull up in Tucson, and there's these two guys with the biggest flags I've ever seen. You know the car dealership flags? Mm-hmm. I swear they brought them in their trunk or something. They're huge, and they were, you know, somehow they think that we're anti-flag. So these two guys,
Anti-US.
Yeah, anti-US, right? And they were, Deedra is a terrorist, they have signs, like she was speaking there, it was a campaign event, and people were coming to listen to her, and one guy on one side, one on the next. And we just went right past, you know, and went into the thing and did our thing. And this guy comes up. And
We're in this group, and it's a big group, a very big group, and they were just beside themselves.
they were so upset that these guys had showed up and were
targeting.
Yeah, right. So he looks at me and he said, I am just so sorry. that these guys are here. And I'm like, you mean the guys out front? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, no, we ordered them. We ordered those guys. We told them to come and bring the biggest flags you have so they can direct people in to where we're going to be.
We didn't wait for anybody to get lost.
And he just like did this face, and then he just started, did you ever hear, the slow clap? It was the slow laugh. It took him a minute to get into it because he was just so shocked. But then everybody was laughing. But we just had to, that's how I feel about it. Like, it's so crazy. It's a crazy thing, so make it crazy.
Right, and like there's a video online of me with the Arizona Patriot Movement, which is
that's a special one.
Yeah, they're supposed to be a patriotic group, but they seem to hate everybody, and they don't do anything for anything. They just show up at everybody else's events and are mean. And so, I'm leaving an event, and it's not my event. I was attending, and it had a couple of thousand people. It was huge. And so the police had directed us outside of coming out the normal interest. They had directed everybody leaving a different way. Well, the reason why they did is because the Arizona Patriot Movement was protesting in front. They were trying to keep it separate. What they did not do was anticipate that people from the Arizona Patriot Movement would leave their designated space of protest and come to this alternate exit that they had given us and harass us. There was no police presence at the actual exit. And, so we're leaving, and Tara wasn't with me. And one of the people came up and started, recognized me. First of all, she just thought I was Muslim, so she was already after me, and she started talking, but then she recognized me. And so then it became about me, and here and their Facebook Live is their weapon of choice. So they have this Facebook Live, up in your face as they're yelling at you, and I'm trapped. I can't get away. I'm on Facebook Live, and she's yelling all of my triggers, all of the things that are supposed to trigger me. Why do you hate America? You don't belong here. You want to kill us. I mean, all of the, just yelling this stuff. And, as from an energy level, it's extremely high. Mm-hmm. And my instant thought is, how do I protect myself from the energy? Not from what's going on, but from the energy. Because that's going to determine what I do, how I react. And I'm on Facebook Live. This is an instant thing, and it's a forever thing. Mm-hmm. So I just started telling her, I love you. I love you. You're beautiful. I love you. And I just kept on this mantra, and it didn't de-escalate it, but it kept it from escalating. Mm-hmm. And until finally the police decided, there's a problem. They decided to come and break it up. But, that's one of the worst things. Because it could have gone so many different ways. I mean, she wanted to trigger me. She wanted me to lose my cool, whether that be, having a meltdown on camera, verbally, or having a physical altercation, so that she could be a victim. It's all a setup, and I know all this, but when you're in that moment, split second, Facebook Live, crowd of people was forming, and this. How do you protect yourself from the energy in that moment? And that energy is powerful. Whether it's positive or negative, it's powerful. And hers was powerful.
And you remained calm.
Well, I mean, honestly, full disclosure, if you actually look at the video, you see that I start losing my breath. You can, if you really are paying attention to what's going on and not just the words and what looks like outward. I mean, it's all I can do to keep this force field up. At one point I tell her, I'm like, she's yelling at me, and I'm like, you're attacking me. You're attacking me. I mean, she got in my space, she stopped me. But I'm losing my voice as I'm trying to say that.
Yeah. That's a lot. Wow. Now, is this I saw a video of a woman that was haranguing you, I'll just say haranguing you, and you were just like, okay, lady, whatever.
So it's
There
a
were
long
two
video.
parts, yeah.
So the
Yeah,
first
I
one,
saw
she's
that.
attacking me,
Oh,
and then
so
the
it's
police
the
break it
same-
up, and I leave.
Okay.
And then that's when I meet up with Tara, and we're at her love glasses wrapped car.
I'm like, really?
And she walks by, you know, and she's yelling at us, and we just didn't respond.
Yep.
But then she goes and harasses the lady and starts picking on this child, and so then I go over and separate them.
And also, I think they're the ones that went on to vandalize the mosque
They
in
are.
Tempe, right?
Yep.
Yep. And so it's not alleged.
There's 2 girls, and one of them she's already got her sentencing, and the other one is coming up, which is just community service and probation.
What are some of the misconceptions, like, because you were talking about the triggers, they were saying all your triggers, what are some of the common misconceptions, or we'll just call them misconceptions, about being Muslim, being a Muslim woman?
Let her husbands tell us what to do.
Yes, yeah. You know, I actually had a guy the other day online. He said somebody had posted something about me, and I'm not connected to it, but he commented online and said, you know, I think it was on Planned Parenthood or something like this, and he said, you know, does her husband let her do that? And so I went on and commented back, and I said, husband let me do? What century do you live in? And, you know, we ended up getting in this whole conversation where he's, you know, telling me all the stuff, you know, that, you know, I'm not free, and you know, my husband has total power over me. I'm like his property, and you know, that I want to kill everybody in America or I want to kill everybody that's not Muslim, and you know, they always want to say what's the word? Kill the
Infidels?
Infidels?
That's not even our word.
Yeah, and it's a Latin word. Literally, it's a Latin word.
We don't own
And
that.
that's from the Crusades. And, you know, so we're having this whole conversation where he just keeps dogging the religion, and I keep, you know, I'm not going to go into a quote scripture to you mode. You know, I'm going to stay with the logic that, you know, we're not some alien species. And then at the end, he was telling me that the scarf is oppression, and you know, I need to take it off. And I'm like, you know, it's oppressive anytime a man tells a woman what to wear. So why don't you just stay in your lane? And you know, we're having this conversation, and at the end he says, well, why don't you tell me why you wear the scarf then? And I said, you don't get to attack me for my clothes and then pretend you like me for my mind. You know, it's just ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, it's funny that they, you know, want to take things out of scripture, and it's out of context, and you know, interpret it however they want, and you know, which you could do with every other scripture. I mean, heck, you could do it with the Constitution of the United States. It doesn't have to be religious, but it's only for us. Like, it's only our scripture that's a problem. You know, you can find the exact same, I mean, because it's all from God. So you can find the exact same things in other scripture, but they're somehow we're an alien species. That's really the problem. It's thinking that people are not like you. That's really the problem. And there's bad people, there's good people, but you know, that's it.
The otherings. Yep.
Yeah. It is the otherings. So it's that one of them is that everyone thinks that your husbands tell you what to do. I've definitely seen that on threads on your page, because you get a lot of...
Yeah, I don't filter.
Yeah, you
I believe in facing it, and also because people live in bubbles, and I don't want to live in a bubble. But, you know, if you don't ever see what I face, you don't think it exists.
Yep.
So then when I face something, you think it's an outlier, you know, that not our lives. You think it's just one crazy person bothered you today. Get over it.
Right, get over yourself, right? Well, I think so when I was a child, my grandfather was Catholic, and in our family, we had nuns galore. We had nuns, like nuns. I don't ever imagine that nuns who, I don't even know, what is that? Is it a scarf? Is it a veil? I think.
I have it.
I have it. Oh yeah.
The Muslim tells the Catholic.
I'm like, but what do you think anyone ever comes to them and says, by wearing that habit, like it's always respect. Like I've only always seen respect for nuns.
Right.
Nuns and habit, and the various stages, because you go from like the soft habit, this could go so wrong in so many ways. You like go from the soft habit to the more formed habit. But yeah, so to me, like as a child, that's what I saw. I saw women with their heads covered a lot, and to me it was just, I just thought of that when you were talking, actually. Does anyone have any questions?
By the way, that's the exception.
That's the exception?
Yeah, that's the
My eyes twitching. I think my eyes started twitching at the thought of all of that.
No, it's about making exceptions. So, you know, you say, well, this other thing is just like that. That's the exception.
What aboutism, right? That's
Yeah.
a big thing.
What
going on.
aboutism?
What aboutism?
Yeah, that's when you can't win your argument, so you start bringing up exceptions or past or things that are totally irrelevant.
To take the,
You know, it's kinda like in a-
lead it in a different direction.
Yeah.
You have to stay focused on your message and bring it back.
Yeah, it's like in relationships where you say, you did this today, and they're like, well, you did that last week. That's what aboutism.
Okay.
Not helpful. Let's stay in what we're talking about today. We can talk about that too, but right now, let's talk about this.
Stay present.
Yep.
Right now.
Stay present.
Stay present and then live. I'm gonna, as a side note, I like the fluffy idea of love. Like I love the idea that the love revolution is fluffy. Because I have obviously the love revolution, and people are like, why do you name the Just Be Love Project the Just Be Love Project? Right? What is it? What do you do at a love fest? Does everyone sit around and hug each other
That'd be
and
great.
sing kumbaya? You know? That would be great. But I mean, in the holistic
We
field.
can start there.
Right? We can start there. In the holistic field I'm in, there's a lot of hugging and loving and hugging. And, you know, I'm not even actually a hugger. That's the truth. It took me a long time to become a hugger because it's my personal space. And in the hugging community, you can hug wrong. You go in for the hug and you're like, no, wait, heart to heart. And then I'm like, well, I don't feel like hugging you anymore. My heart's not in it anymore.
Too many rules.
I know there's too many rules around the hugging. But I felt like this was perfect for these types of conversations. Just be love, because it's teaching people about people. Like just the experience, what you said at the grocery store, right? I don't have the privilege to have a meltdown. I don't have the privilege. You have to remain calm and focused and logical, right? And so then I think if I put myself in your situation, I am all emotion. Like I am just emotional. What would happen to me? Like I would be in trouble because.
So if everybody judged you, let's see, you have red hair? We're going with Auburn?
Part of it is, yes.
Auburn.
Part of it's red.
So if you knew that everything that you do in life impacts every other person with auburn hair in the world, it changed. That's what we face. If you're good, if you're bad, if you're, oh, is it mine? Sorry.
It's Deedra's phone.
I can totally tell you
She's busy.
that's my husband telling me how much he loves me.
Oh.
I'm not choking. That's a special
That's
ring for
his
him.
ringtone, yeah.
Sorry, but if you knew that everything that you did meant that every other person with auburn hair would be impacted by that changes it. And it's not. I mean, Muslims have this, but nuns have this. People of color have this. So, you know, they don't have the privilege of having a meltdown at the cashier either. That doesn't mean that they don't.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them very much do. And it impacts every person of color as a result.
Yep.
So it's both recognizing that you do have that impact, and then recognizing whether or not you're going to care whether you have that impact.
The discussion around privilege is an interesting discussion. Because even I had a talk last year about privilege. I just said privilege, right? I just started there. Let's just start somewhere. Let's learn. But even that topic had pushback. It's like privilege doesn't exist. That's the idea. Privilege doesn't exist. But you just gave a solid example of the difference between if I went through the grocery store line and some cashier ticked me off, I have the privilege that you don't, right?
You're the privilege to be an individual, and what you do impacts you alone.
Because if we showed up the exact same way, there would be a completely different filter in the
headline would be
translation.
That Muslim woman
That's right.
had a meltdown.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, every time you see, you know, a Muslim do something bad, it's in the headline. Muslim man did this, you know, and you're like, I mean, you never say Christian man, white man, you know, they do say, you know, black man, but, you know, you don't have these descriptors for, you know, white Christian people in the headlines. We do. I mean, if my husband got arrested, it would not just be that my husband got arrested. Because I'm high profile, because we're Muslim, it would become the Muslim man got arrested.
Yep.
You do start becoming aware of your language. I mean, if I was in an airport and somebody said, you know, oh my God, I love that. I'm like, oh, that's the bomb. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm going down. I'm in TSA, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, these are literal situations that we've had where we're like, don't say that, you know, or
Don't say that.
You know, these are like normal conversations. You have to watch these kinds of words.
Does anyone have any questions? Chris?
So in the world we live in with the prejudices and racism, unfortunate that we see, and realizing that most people that you encounter are basing their opinions of you not on their actual experience with Muslims themselves, but based on what they see. How do you go about conversing with them to the point where you can kind of get them to like understand what they're saying right now isn't even their own truth, if that makes sense? Like, this is something that they're basing, most people are basing their understanding of the Muslim culture or terrorism or however you want to look at it, based off of what they're seeing and hearing from other people, not based on their own true experience. So is there a way that you, when you're conversing with people, do you help them see that they're taking on someone else's fear, that they're not really, it's not their own fear that they're trying to project on you, it's that someone else's fear. It's society that's put this image of, you know, all Muslims are bad, all or nothing statements, that's really not true. How do you go about speaking with people, and do you have success with bringing someone out of that, so to speak, delusional state where they're not really being truthful with themselves, and now that's projecting on you? Have you seen, when you're talking to someone, like the change within them where they start to realize, you know what, wait a second, this isn't my truth, maybe this isn't true, maybe there's something more to this culture, to, you know, this individual that doesn't group them with all of the negative prejudices that I'm seeing on the media?
I would simply say give them a new experience.
Right.
Give them a new experience. And you have a conversation and you find the things the commonalities, and you go from there. And I mean, a lot of it will dispel itself because they're like, wait a minute, I mean, they're talking to me, they're animated, they're looking at me, they're, you know, we're having a good time, we're hugging, you know, I mean, there's a lot of things that go along with that. So if they like me, then maybe they'll start to question some of their beliefs.
So first of all, the vast majority of people aren't approaching us in this way.
Very true.
Yeah. So, but we do have it, and even nice people, you know, have it in the back of their mind, even if they're not necessarily putting it forward at the time. So yeah, it's definitely about giving people a different experience. We're not worried about changing people's mind. We're worried about just loving them to death. So, so you know, we joke. We're ourselves. We're you know, we're the kind of people that are in the checkout line, and we're, you know, chit-chatting, you know, with the people around us. You know, we're just talking to the people around us, which changes the experience. And so the first problem is, even if you do that, in my opinion, I'm planting a seed. But and that's my job. And my job is not to change people's minds, to plant seeds on so many different things. But the first consequence of that is I become the exception, which helps me, but doesn't help anybody else. But you know, I'm only have so much time with people in a checkout line. You know, so at least if I do that, I'm making progress. but people who interact with us, you know, a little bit longer, you know, then we make a larger impact that has the ripple effects that positively helps people who look like us or people in general. Generally, we don't, you know, go around trying to teach people Islam. We're not trying to convert people. It's not our job. We're just trying to plant seeds and really just be us.
Oh yeah, just
have a good
we
time.
have one life.
Yeah.
We get to live it our way. That's how I mean, that's where I am now. And now that I've, you know, for me personally, I found with my friends and my support systems, and I found like myself and my strengths, I want to share that with others and remind others that they can do that too. That's really where I'm at. Like, you know, use your voice, stand up, just live. Whatever that looks like, live.
And it's much bigger than whether or not they like Muslims.
Right.
Because it really is about trusting themselves, trusting what they see, loving themselves. You know, even on the campaign trail, you know, here I am, the Muslim woman, you know, going out and running for U.S. Senate and making a big splash doing it. And, you know, I had women all over Arkansas or Arizona, but not just Arizona. I had women reaching out to me and telling me, I decided to run for office because I saw you. And I figured if you could do it, I could do it. You know, because mainly it was white women, you know, and they're like, okay, I don't even have the issues around this that she has. And if she can go out there and like face it down, then who am I to like sit back and act like I have issues?
Yeah, it is very inspirational. How you did, for me, I mean, I'll just speak for myself, but I think there's a lot of people out there. I felt very inspired watching you go to these small, you just went. Like you just went and you faced it and you faced all the stuff. And I know, like, I did watch, like, because you leave the commentary on your thread, I did watch a lot of that stuff. And I would just get mad. I would think, how can you say that about them? That's how I felt about your hearts to me. You know, I'm like, what nasty stuff.
Like nothing was good enough.
Yeah.
Nothing.
No.
I mean, one time I wrote a blog on hot dogs. How much I like hot dogs. I really do like hot dogs, right? And so, you know, I did this whole blog about the best beef hot dogs because I don't eat pork. So all the best beef hot dogs in Arizona, and I went to all these different places and I wrote a blog on it. I mean, this is like no substance, right? And all the comments on the Arizona Republic, because I worked for the Arizona Republic, all the comments were about me trying to kill people and you know all this stuff.
But they're hot
And, you know, it's just like,
dogs.
really? I mean, literally, the only thing about Muslim that was in this was that you could see my picture.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, I'd like to share that we made a decision from the beginning. I mean, we had consultants and all of these different people, like, I mean, we had security before we started this whole campaign, and each one of us, because everyone thinks we're the same person, so, you know,
Oh, yeah.
that's another whole thing.
You look alike. Exactly alike.
I was Deedra everywhere I went, so I had one, she had one, and I mean, we had to make a decision quick because it didn't come cheap, and we were running a grassroots campaign, and we talked about it, like, how far are we willing to go with this? Like, are we willing to risk our personal security? And then, of course, as we started going around a little bit, we're like, you know what? We feel good. We made a decision. We feel good and we feel safe. And we decided to continue the campaign without the security. And because otherwise, we may not be able to continue the campaign.
Right.
And which one is more important?
Right, and you know, even though the security was very accommodating to how we wanted to run the campaign and how, you know, the hugs and stuff, you know, that's security's like, you know, they need to kind of know the personal space. But they were very accommodating and they were wonderful guys, but we didn't, I mean, I don't live in fear anyway.
Right.
And so to me, this was just, you know, an extra an extra layer of something, but for me there was no benefit. So I was more worried about Tara because her default is more, you know, seeing the downside.
The fear, the limited fear.
And,
yeah, it's true.
you know, so we had to have that conversation of how important was this and what purpose did it serve? Because it didn't make me feel safer. I barely remembered the guy was there. So was it for us? Was it for other people? Was it, you know, because it was expected? Was it because, you know, we're
Yes.
living in fear? I mean, what purpose
Mhm.
did it serve? And we finally decided it didn't serve any useful purpose to us.
It would have been a hindrance. I mean, I think it could have been a big hindrance. They were great, but to have those guys standing there, I mean, they were very obviously security, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? And it just creates a different dynamic. And people, I think, did feel they could approach us, and I feel that was a good thing. I mean, you know, does everyone want to do it that way? I don't know, but we made that decision, and once you make it, that's it, live it.
Yeah, and we had lots of situations, I mean, I didn't, but we had lots of situations where
No.
where
Are you gonna say
Tara
what
was
happened?
concerned, yeah.
Concern, yes.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
Say
one time we
concern.
stopped for gas, and literally I mean, we're in the middle of nowhere, and it's, you know, a little shack in the middle of nowhere, and Tara's all, I mean, I want to stop and get gas and do these things. And,
That was the dog.
and Tara's all like, I don't think we should stop here. Are you sure we
Yeah,
should
this-
stop here? I mean, this is definitely out of
I've seen this in a
murder
movie.
mystery movie,
Yeah,
you
right,
know?
exactly.
I've seen
And then
this
she's like,
scene.
you know, we need to check in, you know, so they know where to find the bodies. And of course, there's no Wi-Fi half of Arizona.
Right.
So, but I'm like, yeah, well, you know, let's see what's gonna happen's gonna happen. Even if we stay home.
And then she took me to Lake Havasu. That was fun.
Yeah, it's the reddest city in the reddest county in Arizona, and we were at a completely Republican event, and we were the only Democrats there. And I was didn't realize that that's actually where we were going, and we had packed for 2 days. So I'm wearing blue from head to toe, so you know, it looks like I'm trying to be in your face. But yeah, she was looking for exit
And that's her
strategies.
opponent's hometown.
Oh, yeah.
So all friendly. We were the only two not in the friendly group.
Yeah.
So when we got in there, 400 people, I'm like, oh my God, like where's the nearest
Standing room
exit?
only, it was so full. I mean, it was a
Yeah.
fire hazard.
And she's up on stage being all proud in her blue, and I'm like, how can we get out if we need to, is where I'm looking.
Exit strategy.
Right, I
Wow.
was.
Right.
And it ended up so amazing because they had nothing but respect for her coming. I mean, people came up and thanked her, and there was also a few people in the crowd that are like, we're pulling for you, you know, and they
On the DL.
That's so awesome.
yeah, so it was well worth it, and it just to
Yeah, we made
reassure that
people
people are
think.
people, and people are human, and not to get nervous about one side or the other, you know.
And that's what we did. We did the whole thing. I mean, everything was about yes. And, you know, people have different strategies like, you know, why should I go to this group? Because I'm not going to get any votes. So that's a waste of my time when I can spend my time going over to this other area where I could actually get votes. And we looked at it as, you know, it's a long-term plan. You know, this area has been totally ignored by the Democrats because they're not going to get any votes there, right? So when you're completely ignoring them, then you're allowing the oxygen to be occupied by only one version of events, and they only know about you what they've heard about you because they never met you. And so this was beyond being Muslim. This was just like our neighbors never met a Democrat, right? This is not how you run a society. So we were again there about, you know, planting seeds, and the planting seed was maybe your neighbor's not what you heard they were.
But we had the greatest reception in the rural areas.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, we had the most fun every time, even Kingman,
Yeah.
you know.
People used to always say, you know, aren't you afraid of going to the rural areas? And I'm like, you know, the white nationalists are in Phoenix. That's who comes out. They come out to me in Phoenix.
Yep.
Right.
Nobody outside has it. And we're, you know, it's not like, we're not like a normal Democrat where if we just take off our name tag, you don't know. You know, there's no down low with us.
Yeah.
No DL.
The DL.
No DL.
So, you know, we're going to these places, you know, we have no idea what we're getting. You gotta stop and get gas, you gotta stop and go to the bathroom, you gotta stop and get
Yeah,
snacks, you gotta
right.
stop and eat. I mean, there's all these things that you know, end up, we've never been there before. Maybe nobody who looks like you has ever been there before. But no, we always, people were nice. I mean, we had a few people that you know, weren't friendly, but we are. So we usually want them over. And my first thought is never that people aren't nice because of me. Right? So I'm not thinking that they don't like Muslims or, you know, that I'm an outsider. I mean, that's not any of, I have like 7 excuses before I get to, oh, they don't like Muslims. You know, they gotta be obvious about it.
Someone's gotta say it.
Yeah, right? It really is it's usually about them. They're having a bad day. They don't know what to say, you know, I mean, so I don't worry about that. We just kill them with love.
That's it. Have fun.
I mean, kill them with love.
Absolutely.
Kill them with love.
We use the word, we don't care.
We bomb them with love.
We bomb them with
love
love.
bomb
We
them.
love terrorists.
Yeah.
I'll say it. I'll go all the way.
How was it being the official cheerleader on this love? I like to look at it as I just thought it was a love tour.
Yeah.
That's why I got on board.
Right.
I'm like, this isn't politics. This is love.
Right.
How is it being a cheerleader?
It's, so, before I got to the cheerleader part, and all the consultants were there, and they're telling, you know, she's running for this office, and it's the biggest one in the state, and, you know, oh my God, right? So I was so scared, because by default, being fear, I'm going to say something wrong, do something wrong, I'm going to use the wrong words. I didn't know politics. I didn't know LD. I didn't know barely red, blue, any of it. All I knew is that she wanted to do this. So again, the sisterhood we have, one day she's like, yeah, you're really overthinking this. She's like, you, really all I need you to do is be you. And she gave me that permission to be me. And she literally is like, yeah, I just need just be a cheerleader or something. I'm like, oh my God, the official campaign cheerleader, that's it. So once I learned my role with the campaign and that I didn't have to strategize and that I didn't have to, you know, tell everybody the policies and I didn't have, you know, once I learned that, it was easy because I'm her cheerleader in life anyway. Like she's awesome. She does great things and she leads with her heart and I know that. So once I figured that out, we figured that out, then it was very easy to do.
Yeah, and she had to believe that I believed that there was nothing she could do to hurt me.
Yeah, right.
If
I
she was
didn't
just
want
her. I mean, because she was afraid, what if I, you know, explain something
yeah,
wrong?
right,
You know,
right.
and I'm like,
can you imagine?
You're
Like,
not me. Nothing's gonna, you know, you're not gonna blow the campaign out of the water. So
then I just pushed
be
it
you.
further and further,
Just-
and she didn't say no. So there, you know, I just kept going. Like,
Yes,
like,
she
woo!
did. So, it looks like we're getting at the end of our time. I would like, do you have I would like you to tell a Love Glasses story because Love Glasses is not fluff. You have made deep impact in people's hearts, and I would love if you would share a story that any of the millions of stories, I say millions of stories that you have.
Should I share the one about the young man in the hospital? I have one that I never really share because, well, it's deep, and I wouldn't want it to be exploited, but in the situation, I think it's okay. One day, I saw this lady through a friend on Facebook. Her son had been in the hospital, and he had overdosed on drugs. And it affected me so deeply because he looked like my son. So I asked her if I could, and she was on Facebook, and she was having the discussion of what she had to do if she had to take him off of life support or not. He was in a bad situation. And I don't know what, I just felt like writing this letter to this lady and giving her Love Glasses, and my words were something along the lines of like, as a mom, whatever decision you make, it's the absolute right one because you're the mom. Nobody else can make that decision. Mm-hmm. And she wrote back to me, thanking me, and also sent me this picture of her son in the Love Glasses before she had to unplug him from life support. And I mean, that's when it hit me more than anything that that's real. I mean, there's nothing fluffy about that. That's life and people's lives and people's drama and people's hearts. And they looked at it a lot more powerfully than I could ever have seen.
And Tara always says that love is an action word, and that's it's, you know, just like you know, when you love your kids, love is not letting them do everything. You know, love has boundaries. Love says, you know, you don't touch the stove, it's hot. You know, it's not, I love you so much you could do whatever you want, you know, even if you want to jump off the cliff, I'm good. You know, it's having these deep discussions and having boundaries, and, you know, even in conditional love, it's I unconditionally love you. That doesn't mean I don't have boundaries. And how can you truly love your neighbor, your family, your friends, if you're not trying to make the world a better place, if you're not active, doing something? Doesn't matter what, it doesn't have to be politics, but it has to be that you're putting one foot in front of the other to make the world a better place for at least your small group. You know, if everybody just did that. But it's not just sitting back and saying, you know, I'm full of love for everybody. I can't meet another soul because I can't stand them. But I'm full of love for everybody.
For me, I walk my talk. I do my best to walk my talk. I give myself lots of room and leeway.
Yes.
And to me, it really is that quote, to be the change you want to see. For me, it's I strive to be the thing I want to see. So the thing I want to see is what I strive to show up for and be in the world. And sometimes it is saying, you know, I need to love you from a distance, right? If we're all one in the one circle, that doesn't mean everyone gets to stand next to me. Some of you have to stand on the other side of the circle, and I'll just wave from over here. That's how I deal with the people that I don't like. Yes, I have love for lots, but some people can hold their hand because I'm a human being with feelings and depth, as you two are, as everyone here is. And so
I can understand you and I can have compassion, but that doesn't, but there's right and wrong. I can still have my values and have compassion for you, not understanding how you're negatively impacting the world. But my compassion for you doesn't mean that I'm not going to try to have a conversation.
And I was just going to say, choosing love might be that you choose not to be in a situation in the moment to have a negative experience.
Yeah.
Choosing love means choosing yourself over that person, and that's okay.
Amen.
You got to just figure out,
Yep.
figure it out.
Choosing love starts with you.
Absolutely.
It starts with strength
Has
of
to.
character,
Mhm.
authenticity, transparency, and being that thing,
Mhm.
and showing up as that thing, and doing the work, the debriefing, the sensing of energy, the
Chit-chat.
spreading the message, the chit-chat, the love chit-chat. That to me is definitely love.
Agree. We agree.
I could just keep talking to you guys forever and ever and ever and ever, but thank you so, so, so much for having this conversation. I do feel like there's a lot more to talk about.
Always.
Always, always.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you. Mwah, mwah, mwah.